first part to making an apple pie is to sieve in the flour. By sieving, it makes it not so clumpy and it makes the mixtures finer. This can be a very, very messy job. Like, I normally get told off for making too much flour in the kitchen. So just make sure that all your area is clean. Next part is to add the salt. It does say sieve in the salt, but there's not really much point in sieving in salt because it doesn't actually come in clumps. So just pop it in there. Next step is to put in the butter and your lard. It doesn't really matter which order it goes in because it goes in at the same time anyway. All the ingredients and the measurements are on the website or with the video that it's on. The thing you need to do now is rub in the lard and the butter. Make sure that it resembles a crumble sort of resemblance. This is good if you're making a crumble because you don't have to actually make the dough, you can just put it on the top. So just working your fingers, making sure that it looks like breadcrumbs. You don't want any really big clumps of butter because you just get a taste of butter when you're eating your pie, which isn't too nice because I've done that before. This can normally take up to about 5 minutes depending on how speedy you are, really. So wait until it's quite a fine mixture. It sort of looks like couscous once you've done. If you haven't tried couscous, I'd seriously recommend it. It's dead nice. So. And next step is to add in some ice cold water. You can see me there in the fridge. And this helps you make the dough, the actual ball of dough. So just work that round, kneading it. If you don't know what kneading is, then Google it because you should know what kneading is. Yeah, that's what you're basically doing. Make sure that you've got all the stuff around the bowl. Your bowl should be practically clean by the end of it. So don't forget to get all the bits off your fingers. This is a great bit to get it all off because it's really hard to get it off in the sink. So it should actually look like this halfway through. If you have a feeling it's a bit dry, then put in another teaspoon or so, like a thimble. So you've got to put it in a bag or cling film, it doesn't really matter which, and pop it in the fridge. So you've got to leave it in there for 20 minutes. I'm not actually too sure why you have to do that, to be honest, but you know. So next step is to prepare your apples. You've got to core them, peel them and cut them. It's just basically coring, peeling and cutting, really. It's not that hard. Make sure that you've got always the good apples though, because you don't want bits with like mouldy bits on it because they're not too nice. This has got to be the longest step because you've got so many to do. I used about 5 to 6 regular sized apples to fill the pan. So it does take a while if you're doing it by yourself. It's always good to get a helper if you can find a helper. Make sure that your wedges aren't too big. So I would suggest cutting them and then cutting them again so they actually look like that. Or you just get big clumps and your pastry doesn't go quite well on top. You need to then zest a lemon as well using either a zester. Mine's not very good, so I use a cheese grater, which is quite hard because it goes all inside. So just like get a spoon and pour it out. You've then got to use all the juices in the lemon. I had a cut when I did this and this really hurt, so just be wary. And then mix it in. I think I also put cinnamon in there. I can't actually say the word cinnamon. So once your 20 minutes have done, that should take away apples. Take out the pastry from the fridge and start rolling it out, I guess. Make sure you flour the surface and your rolling pin or it will stick. That's happened to me many times. And it just falls apart and you've got to knead it all again and stuff, so. And then when you're getting it into the baking tin, it doesn't really matter what size baking tin you use, just make sure you've got enough dough, really. Make sure it's not really big, because then you've got a problem. but then fold up the pastry and pop it in, and just kind of base it around your rolling, your baking tray really. If you've got any cuts in it, then just get a bit of water on your finger and just dab them down. Add in your apples and messle them all around a bit. And then for this bit, you just cut around the edge of the pastry and put it on, like just fold it in sort of thing, kind of crump it if you can, and pop it in the oven, which was set at 200 degrees Celsius, and leave to cook for 45 minutes. But I actually made a little honey sauce to go on top, just like garnish it sort of thing. Gives it a good glow. So just boil that in a pan. Make sure it doesn't actually boil, just wait till it goes quite, it's not as sticky, it's quite a thin mixture. And then once you've done that, it should be done. Now I really should have had my hair up to do this, but I kind of forgot. And that's what it looks like. It's not a bad recipe. I don't know if I'd use it again. You see, you just dribble on the honey, and it makes it all nice and, yeah, nice. But this recipe is actually quite good. The pastry didn't actually go according to plan. It's quite crumbly, and as you can see here, you can't actually get it out the pan due to it being so crumbly. So I'd maybe take another pastry recipe and use the same, but I'm not too keen on the whole open apple pie sort of thing. It didn't, apples got burnt on the top. I'd stick to a closed apple pie, to be honest. It is a good recipe. My apples were a bit sour, so maybe get some really good apples. I used Brambly. But thank you for watching, and you can see all our stuff on our Facebook and our website, and I hope to see you again. Bye.